Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News on one of the most important days in Valorant history yesterday, with an unbelievable precedent being set. A Killjoy turret bug happened in a deciding round between XSET and FPX. Riot decided to replay that particular round to the shock pretty much of the entire community. And honestly, everyone is saying, look, if this is the case, then why not, well, retrospectively talk about other bugs that have changed situations? What does this mean for the future? And the FPX guys are not happy about XSET at all about this situation, even though XSET say, look, we didn't even want to replay it. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Lots going on today. I'm going to try to do my best to break it all down for you guys. Firstly, just to mention real quick, the new agent kind of overshadowed by all this drama, who we believe is going to be from India, and people are actually locating this image as to where this is, and it turns out it seems like it's this at the temple, or the gateway of India, sorry, from Mumbai, India. So yes, it seems like that's where it is. Probably that's where the agent's going to be from. Apparently going to be a controller, so I guess stay tuned for that one. But we've got to dive into this champion stuff. Firstly, just to mention DRX versus Fnatic. Like every single DRX series I predict, I get it wrong somehow. I don't understand this team, but yes, they lose game 1 to Fnatic. Fnatic win the icebox, then a crazy overtime actually for DRX here. They take the ascent, and then they win the game 3 as well. Great performance from DRX here, really. I thought that the top 6 curse was guaranteed, but this does mean it's really awesome in terms of the top 4 tournaments, or the top 4 seeds for the rest of the tournament, with 1 North American team, 1 Brazilian team, 1 European team, and 1 Korean team making it through to the final 4. So great to see for the biggest tournament of the year. But Fnatic, man, I really don't know. Like, Fnatic on paper should be, like, they should have better results than they do. And even with the home crowd buff, it wasn't enough here. So credit to DRX turning up when it mattered. Like, obviously we know how talented this team is and can be, but I thought Fnatic would, do better, honestly, with the roster and the players that they have and the performance that, Turko and AlphaJair have been putting up lately to deliver a better result. But it's top 6 in the end for Fnatic, and DRX advanced to the final 4, and we'll see in a few minutes time here what the bracket looks like for the remainder of the tournament. But this was the big series of the day, FPX versus XSET, a rematch of what happened in the group stages where FPX lost 2-1 to XSET at the time. I thought this time FPX would have just enough to come out on top. Game 1 though goes XSET's way, like a crazy map 1. Then game 2, it's FPX that bounce back on the bind. Like, honestly, an incredible series. A shame really that this has been overshadowed so much, because even the overtime we got after the restart was absolutely incredible. But what a play here from Zagetsu as well. But so it all goes to the final map of the series, and again, a banger match. It's 11-12 in FPX's favor. This is the final round of the map here. It's a 2 versus 3, in favor of XSET at this point. And we can see here what the Killjoy turret does. The Killjoy turret is arguably not perfectly placed, but it's kind of looking around. The Killjoy turret is a bit weird, right? It kind of looks at where players were last seen, and it can only turn a certain degree of angle. So it obviously shoots a little bit at heaven, then it turns around and sees where Angel is, shoots at him for a bit, and then he probably, the Killjoy turret probably can't see Angel anymore, and therefore it looks away and looks back to heaven. So a bit of a bug, right? But some people would argue this is actually just kind of the way it works sometimes. And let's be honest here, this isn't the only bug in the game. There are some weird things the turret does. There are some very weird things the KO knife does. Sometimes it doesn't work. We saw even the other day the Viper wall is completely bugged, really, where you can see under it in certain circumstances, which is clearly not intentional, and yet that was being used. And then apparently I think the player who used that was then told, yeah, you're not allowed to use that anymore. So this is the whole thing with this. So basically what happens is FPX end up winning this round. They take the series 13-11, map 3, crazy situation, but everyone was talking, wow, that kind of turret costed them, right? Because they didn't know. They thought there was a guy from heaven, right? Understandably, Dephh there on the site thinks there's a guy from heaven because the turret's kind of shooting at it, and therefore they got caught off guard and failed to close out this retake. But the players are like, you know what, it's unlucky, right? The turret kind of costed us in that situation. We lost the series, but they probably think, okay, maybe we should have done better map 2 or whatever. And as Zekken says, we lost 2-1. Our level of improvement from Copenhagen was monstrous. Glad we could showcase that. Great to see from Zekken XSET. They had a great tournament run. It was a really nice try. They nearly beat FPX, the champions of Copenhagen. Great to see this young team delivering the goods, have some personality, this type of stuff, really create waves in the scene. But I'm sure they thought, okay, end of the line for us. Nice try, top 6, not bad. We'll get on a plane again and we'll see what happens next year going into franchising, right? Then this happens. So Riot look at that and decide in the final round of the match, a bug caused the Killjoy turret to fire in the wrong direction. This resulted in false information that directly led to an XSET player looking in the wrong direction and had a high level of potential impact on XSET losing the round and match. the final rounds will be replayed. This is a remarkable precedent to set because there are many bugs in this game. Like, it's not a perfect game, and I thought that Riot might say, you know what, apologies XSET, that bug was obviously not great for you, but like, what can we really do about it? The game is the game, and it is what it is. However, they say we're going to replay it. Now, this might not sound outrageous before you consider the fact that there are plenty of rounds from even this tournament where similar situations and similar bugs have occurred, and yet nothing has happened as a result. Riot are allowed to do this. We'll see the rules in a second. They are allowed to replay rounds and kind of count back in these type of situations. But the way in which it's done is remarkable, just because from my perspective, if this was not the final round of the series, if this was not the final round of the match, they wouldn't have cared anywhere near as much. This would have been like, okay, let's say it was 7-6. It'd be like, okay, wow, that was unfortunate. It's now 8-6 or 7-7. Because this was 13-11, that's, in my opinion, why they replayed it. If this had been like a match or a round earlier in the match, it wouldn't have mattered. So this is a really interesting precedent to set, because now anytime any bug happens in the future, the players are within their right to say, well, look, we've got to replay that round. That kind of, the bug caused us incorrect information, and therefore we should replay it, right? So this is a really, like, arguably dangerous, but also it's going to create a lot of drama going forwards on what teams decide to do. Like, I mean, yes, kind of Weltis points out here, there is a feature of the rulebook where the round rollback can happen, where they can decide to replay a round in this situation. But, you know, if they're going to do this, why not do it for other situations where bugs occur, as they do frequently in this game? Even as Angel says at the time, I will create a list of rounds which we need to replay because of bugs later at night. I think both teams agreed, really. They're like, look, that was unfortunate for XSET, but that's just how the game is sometimes. You just got to effectively put up with it. We're both playing the same flawed game. Like, we've just got to deal with it, right? And Angel's like, I can create a list of so many rounds, even this tournament, where bugs have occurred that have either affected one team for better or worse, and look, we've got to replay it. So I think at this time there was only rumors that Riot were going to replay it. Turns out they confirmed it, and as zyppan was like, because people were coming at zyppan being like, wow, obviously they snitched to the referee and were like, yeah, we want to replay it. XSET didn't even want to replay. They were quite happy to just take the defeat on the chin and be like, yeah, fair enough, whatever, we weren't the best team on the day, that was unlucky, but it is what it is. And Second's like, hang on a second, we didn't even ask to replay, and then Riot have done it anyway. And this is the thing that Chet says, some OpTic and others were saying as well, they set a really dangerous precedent. There's so many bugs in this game. For example, the KO knife, right? You can throw the KO knife and sometimes it just will not scan some enemies, and you know, often that will happen, right? And it will say there's only a certain amount of enemies there, and there's actually more. So what is to affect the possibility of someone throwing a KO knife? It doesn't perfectly read which players are within the vicinity, and then a team says, well, that gave us incorrect information, we've got to replay that series or replay the round or whatever, right? Like, I mean, yeah, it's going to create some really interesting stuff going forward. Even as DDK says from 100 Thieves, there are many utility bugs that have had a huge impact in match outcomes. Only this tournament creates a dangerous precedent. Is this really the best decision for competitive integrity? Struggling to find a reason to justify this call. Many people were finding this in a similar boat, and even as Ye says, honestly, during the recent drama, disqualify both the teams and fly in Sentinels, right, bring them back. And as Sentinels said, like in a second here, well, let's replay the LCQ, right? And even as Will says here, fly us back to Istanbul, kind of showing this moment here. I'm not exactly sure this is a bug or exactly what was going on here, but 100T versus DRX, like there was some strange stuff happening, and he's like, well, you know, look, let's just replay that series, right? Get us back in business. As Sentinel's like, let's replay the LCQ, because look, if you can replay for this, then you can probably replay for anything. And as Mike says, Mike's HD here, assistant coach for 100 Thieves, this happened earlier in the tournament, I think by FPX, I think was the player that was using this, and I mean, yeah, like, why not replay a round like this? Surely that's unfair. Therefore, we've got to go back in business and replay that round. So, you know, turn the clocks back. Artist was mind-blown, right? He was like, look, if I speak, I'm in big trouble, effectively. He was like, look, if I say anything in this press conference, if I say my real opinion, I'm going to get fined by my organization, I'm going to get fined by Riot, I'm going to get banned for all these tournaments going forwards. Like, Artist didn't want to say anything, and this is pretty much the only thing he tweeted out here. And if indeed this bug is so serious, then why not just disable Killjoy, right? Surely that's the inherent implication, is that Killjoy has to be banned effectively from use, because this bug could affect future rounds where they would have to do a similar thing. So I don't really know what the plan is going to be, but even as Chronicle says, formerly of M3C Gambit, Riot probably did the worst decision ever that everyone will remember. We saw the VK versus like a Sin situation before. They used the bugged cam, they got a certain amount of rounds or whatever deducted, there was some sort of exploits going on, like that was a big drama at the time, and of course we've seen it happen a similar time around. And even apparently when they replayed the round, Dephh actually had marginally more utility in the replay rounds than he had in the original rounds. So maybe it's time to replay the round again. But because of course XSET went on to win the replay. Like, honestly, so crazy. So XSET won the replayed round after losing originally, FPX must have been just absolutely mind-blown. I wonder what would have happened if, like, FPX would have lost this, and then XSET would have said, look, we're not happy with the replay, we're going to forfeit, effectively. Like, we don't want to play going forwards, we think FPX deserve the victory. Like, I don't know if they'd have done that, but, like, would have been very interesting if they'd have said, after, let's say XSET won this overtime, and they said, look, actually, we don't want to win, we're going to withdraw from the tournament. I wonder what Riot would have done then, but yeah, XSET forced overtime, eventually FPX after what it was a crazy overtime, but it's just unfortunate it was overshadowed because it was such a great series between two fantastic teams that played incredibly well, and as it turned out, FPX could have almost won it here, but zyppan clutched up, take it to 14-14. In the end, it was 16-14 in FPX's favor, and the same result happens again, but as Hiko points out, we never even asked to redo the rounds. It was just 100% Riot initiated, right? We didn't even ask for it, so they're getting a lot of hate, the XSET guys, but you know, undeservedly so, because they didn't want to do this, right? And in fairness, I think the FPX guys, I can understand their frustration with all this drama, and like, why did they even get it replayed in the first place? But they were going a bit hard on the XSET guys, like as he says here, GG won again, easy, nice try, XSET clown face, lose against OpTic, blame tech pause, lose against FPX, blame bug, 100%. So I mean, yeah, kind of funny, but I thought, you know, a bit unfair really, because XSET didn't really have much to do with this, and even as Sugetsu says, not divas, just losers to XSET. So I mean, yeah, I can understand their frustration, but at the same time, it wasn't exactly XSET's fault that this whole thing happened. They didn't even ask for the reset, and in fairness, the coach of the team, Doombro, says, look, nobody's fault today, unfortunate situation, tiring for everyone, because this match replay happened like 2 hours after the game concluded. It was at like 2 a.m. in Istanbul, like all the casters had to come back, like the players had to come back. It was just an absolute shambles. They should have just let it go. I really have no idea why they did this, and even as Zeka says, I'm glad we lost, bro, I'm trying to make it home, right? Thinking like, okay, they would have get absolutely taken out by the crowd or whatever if they'd have won that replay. So crazy stuff, but I mean, yeah, I guess we'll just look at this final map here where the overtime eventually gets replayed. This round gets determined, like the first time I've ever really seen two post-match threads for the same match on Reddit. Like, it was an absolute mess, and of course not just for this particular instant, but also for the precedent it sets going forwards. Like, what is to stop any team when a bug happens in any round of any game going forwards saying, well, that was a bug that inversely affected us, we want that round replayed, right? Like, there could be some serious nightmares happening as a result of this that Riot have kind of allowed to happen by making this call. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. A couple of days off now from Champions. It re-begins on the 16th of September with Loud OpTic, of course, and FPX TRX with the final 4 teams of this event. The number one performer of the day, of course, the Turret with the 2.0 rating. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell to YouTube gods, this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Valorant community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I'll see you next time.